This is the most famous restaurant company on earth. It sells roughly 75 hamburgers every single second. But here is the strange part. Selling those burgers is not really how it makes its money. The real answer is hiding inside its own financial reports. McDonald's is quietly one of the largest landlords on the planet. It doesn't sell you lunch, it collects your rent. And to understand how, you have to go back to a broke 50-something salesman with a bad heart. In 1954, Ray Kroc sold milkshake machines, and his business was slowly dying. Then he visited one hamburger stand in San Bernardino, California, run by two brothers, Richard and Maurice McDonald. It was a marvel, a kitchen run like an assembly line, fast, cheap, clean. Kroc saw the future and talked his way into franchising it. He started selling McDonald's restaurants across America, and almost immediately he nearly went broke doing it. His cut of each restaurant's sales was only about 1.4%. It barely covered his costs. Kroc was building an empire that could not pay its own bills. He was one bad month from losing everything. Then, in 1956, a sharp finance man named Harry Sonneborn looked at Kroc's books and said one sentence that changed everything. "You're not in the hamburger business. You're in the real estate business." His plan was simple and ruthless. McDonald's would stop just renting out its name. It would control the ground itself. The company would buy or lease the land and the building for each new restaurant, then sublease the whole package to the franchisee. And here was the trick. The franchisee did not pay what McDonald's paid. They paid a markup. A 40% markup on the rent or a slice of sales, whichever was greater. McDonald's locked in its own costs with long, fixed mortgages, but it charged franchisees rent as a percentage of their sales. So as each restaurant sold more year after year, the rent kept climbing, while McDonald's costs stayed frozen. That growing gap became pure profit. By 1961, Kroc wanted total control, and the two brothers who had invented all of it were in his way. So he bought them out. The price tag, $2.7 million, a fortune at the time. The brothers wanted $1 million each after taxes. Kroc had to borrow heavily just to pay them. But there was a second deal sealed only with a handshake. A promise of 0.5% of the company's sales, forever. Kroc later swore that promise never existed. The brothers said he never paid a single cent of it, money that could have been hundreds of millions a year. And then came the revenge. The brothers had kept their very first restaurant, but Kroc now owned the name. Forced to rename it the Big M, they watched Kroc open a brand new McDonald's right around the corner. Within a few years, their original store was gone. He didn't just buy the company, he erased its founders. Fast forward to today. That real estate idea did not just save McDonald's. It became the entire business. In 2024, about 95% of McDonald's 43,000 restaurants were owned by franchisees, not by the company. McDonald's does not really want to run your local restaurant. It wants to own the dirt underneath it and be the landlord. Look at how the money splits. In 2024, the company took in $25.9 billion in total revenue. Of that, its franchised restaurants brought in $15.7 billion, almost all of it rent and royalties. And inside that number, one line towers over everything else. Rent, $10 billion in a single year, purely from renting property to its own franchisees. Now compare that to the food the company actually sells itself at the restaurants it runs directly. Rent brought in $10 billion. Selling burgers at company-run restaurants brought in $9.8. McDonald's earns more as a landlord than as a cook. The burger is the bait. The lease is the business. And look at the profit where it gets even starker. In 2024, franchised operations produced $13.2 billion in margin. The company's own restaurants produced just 1.5. Running restaurants is hard, low-margin work. Owning the buildings they sit in is a money machine. Which is why McDonald's balance sheet reads less like a diner chain and more like a property fund. On its own books, its land and buildings are worth about $27 billion. But analysts estimate the true market value at closer to $120 billion. It owns roughly 80% of its buildings and more than half the land beneath its restaurants, some on the most valuable corners in the world. Real estate now drives around 60% of the company's operating profit, up from about 40% a decade ago. By some measures, McDonald's is now one of the 10 largest real estate holders on Earth. It just happens to sell fries too. But every empire has someone paying for it. And here, that someone is the franchisee. Remember Sonneborn's trick? Rent as a percentage of sales? It is brilliant when sales rise. It is brutal when they fall. Because the rent bill does not shrink with your bad month. As a share of sales, the squeeze only gets tighter. It fell 1.4%, the first domestic drop in nearly 4 years. In one owner's survey, 97% of franchisees said the company's plan simply was not working for their cash flow. They're caught between rising costs, cheap value meals the company pushes, and a rent bill tied to every single dollar they ring up. You own the restaurant. McDonald's owns you. So the next time you pull up to those golden arches, understand what you are really looking at. It is not a restaurant company that happens to own some property. It is a property company that happens to sell burgers. One that quietly collects rent on tens of thousands of street corners around the world, every single day. Ray Kroc understood it before almost anyone. Sell the burger cheap. Own the ground forever. You didn't buy lunch. You paid rent. And that, not the Big Mac, is the real secret recipe.